So if the title tells you anything, it's that I really, really like this 2024 Kia EV9. It might be the most well-rounded electric vehicle I have ever driven. There is some expert craftsmanship with this vehicle, some really desirable features, and really there's only 2 flaws that I found driving this product. But I'll get to all of that and address what is, I think, the most critical element of this vehicle, and it's that the EV9 is a 3-row family SUV. And if you want a family vehicle, I believe that you want a vehicle that does everything at a drop of a hat. Having children, as I'm told, is difficult. You are always going to things, dropping them off, picking them up, and I seriously want to stress this point because this is a fantastic product. I highly recommend anybody that wants one, they probably should buy it. But the thing that you need to be very conscious of is that you need to have direct, easy, and accessible charging infrastructure right beside you or in your own property, in your house or apartment, whatever. Because there's no new argument that I'm going to discuss here in terms of the drawbacks of living with an EV. I've covered that enough. I don't need to repeat myself. I'm sure you've heard all of the arguments. But the idea of a family vehicle, in my mind, means that it will do anything and everything when you need it to satisfy the need of yourself or the need of your family. And being caught with low range, low charge in a product like this could make life a little bit stressy. If it's your sole vehicle, which it probably wouldn't be if you are a family with kids. Again, I just think you need to be very certain this car will fit your life and not you having to alter your life to fit this product. So I've stressed that point. Let's now talk about the Kia EV9. Excuse me as I interrupt myself, but I'm here to tell you about a new partner to the channel, Rear View Prints. This is a UK-based premium art and decor company for the car enthusiast, selling items from high-quality posters of your favorite F1 driver to clocks styled after tacks of sports cars. Rear View promises satisfaction, longevity, and quality. Now, when it comes to us car enthusiasts, I think we're often labeled as hard to buy for, and that's where Rear View steps in. With their high quality custom car and motorcycle prints, they will be able to work with you to bring that little bit of love that you have in your garage onto a bedroom wall. So with this, you supply a high quality image, and then they work with you every step along the way to make sure you're going to get the print you want to see. I'm really impressed by the richness of the colors, the sharpness of the lines. I love every little piece of this poster. So if this interests you or would interest a car fanatic in your life, be sure to go to rearviewprints.com and make sure that you let them know Max Landy sent them your way. This is, like I said, a brilliant EV. The one I'm driving is the top spec GT line with the wicked $14,000 premium package put on top, which gives you a myriad of wild features like the leg rests in the front and second row seating. I've got a massage seat as the driver, but the second row and first row passengers aren't missing out that much because they've got heated and ventilation for their seats. You've got this signature lighting feature. It is just light shining through, I suppose, thinner pieces of plastic, or the piece has been laminated on top. This features a welcome animation, so when you turn on the car, you get this flash of lights. And interestingly, Kia will offer downloadable content, so you can pay to have a different light show. That's something that I actually don't mind. I think when it comes to cars, anything that's a pay-as-you-go feature or subscription feature really upsets a lot of people, and it does with me as well. But this is a totally needless thing that you show off to your friends. So to pay the $5, $10, whatever it will be to get different animations, I think it's actually kind of fun. I don't need to read you the spec sheet of the features that come with the GT line with the premium pack, but the one thing I need to stress, and this is one of the only flaws I've found with this car, is that it has a self-levelizer, that is a word apparently according to Kia, rear suspension system. And the only real driving dynamic fault I have with this product is that if you're driving not madly, not crazy, you're just casually driving along and you hit an expansion joint on a bridge, a manhole cover, a pothole, you get this strange little sway, a little wobble from the rear axle, and I can't really convey it to you because if I just bobble my head back and forth, it's just dramatic. It just looks like I'm faking it. And realistically, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if the rebound needs to be stiffer. I don't know if these 255, 45, 21-inch wheels all around maybe need to be wider in the rear or a stiffer sidewall. I'm not sure, but that's the only thing that's driving this EV9 was a fault. Will it bother you? I don't think so, and I don't think you'll really notice it unless someone points it out to you. So just be conscious of that. Maybe if you can, try one of these vehicles with this premium pack added to it and one without. So I'd be curious to know if a difference can be found. But to talk about other aspects of driving, of course it's quick. It's got a 100 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. Here with the all-wheel drive model, it has an electric motor on each axle. With this spec, it has 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. And when you have a well-charged battery, you can stomp on the throttle and just go. There's a good difference between the different driving modes in that if you're in normal and you put your foot down, as I'm just going to demonstrate here, there, I put it down, it had a surge, but then it has a second surge, and that's the front motor engaging. It's almost like it has a gear down effect where you put the throttle in, you've got a little bit of power, but the computer reacts to give you a little bit more. I like that, but I also like how if you just turn on sport mode, that front motor is on all the time. So I'll just do a quick comparison here. So normal, here we go. There was the hit of power. Now let's get back to legal speeds and I'll hit on sport. Here we go. Gone right away. And you can actually see that conveyed with the sort of power dial that you have on the right hand side. And interestingly, in my time driving it, when you get to about 25% charge, it really slows down the delivery of that power as a way to save range, obviously. And then when you get to about 10% range, that's when you never, or at least in my experience, can't get full power out of the system. To comment on other aspects of driving, there's no feeling from the steering, but it is weighted appropriately for a vehicle that weighs 5,800-ish pounds. Suspension, even though the rear kind of plays around a bit, I think is well handled. It isn't as eerily quiet as many other EVs that I've driven, and I'm sure it's because, well, it's a 3-row SUV. It's a very squared off one too, and it has fairly wide tires, but it is still definitely more quiet relative to a Telluride or a Hyundai Palisade. Regenerative brake feel is good. You can do one pedal driving, and you can also alter the amount of regen that is applied with the paddles behind the steering wheel. Most of these things I'm used to when it comes to Kia products. When I drove the EV6, it had the same, let's say, driving demeanor, but a big step up over the EV6. And the EV6 was in no way bad, but the cabin in this car is close to flawless. I have not heard a single squeak or rattle or shimmy from the materials, from the structure in the 2 weeks of driving it. This is what has surprised me more than anything else. Not that Kia or Hyundai have built bad cabins in my experience testing them, but this really is enough to get premium manufacturers worried, and it's no stretch of the imagination to think that there will eventually be a Genesis version of this product. And outside of maybe putting some more leathers up here, and well, honestly, that might be it. Like, we've got enough leather here on the touch point, on the seat, steering wheel, a little bit of soft plastic up here, that's all I could really see you doing to up this cabin. I love the way it's laid out. All the buttons feel great. There's tons of storage. Down here below, you've got this kind of open cavity that could be enough to hold 2 gallons of milk. Maybe the storage in the door cards isn't as big as you'd like it to be, but there's storage under here, enough for some sunglasses. You've got this pull-out drawer for the second row passengers, and almost like a little tabletop that they can interact with. And you might see that down there below there aren't any climate controls. Well, don't worry, they're up in the roof liner. And the Meridian sound system that's in this car, the system that I've seen in Range Rovers, has blown me away. Truly, very, very good. The only gripe that I have with this cabin is that with these backlit buttons that you see, home, map, search, all of that, they act as one button. You just have to give a little firm press and you're able to access whatever menu. It has haptic feedback, and if you gently tap it, you will feel it. But if you do a hard press, you can feel just a little shimmy from the rest of this plastic piece. To sit behind myself, I actually think this Kia could well represent a little bit of a chauffeur-mobile. Maybe that's also an element of this product. Maybe as a family, you now have kids that have left the house. You don't need to be driving as frequently as you do, but you're getting out of a big SUV and you still want a big SUV. Maybe that's where some market research has played into the development of this car. I'm just theorizing though. Third row comfort, truthfully, isn't that bad. I can sit behind myself. You'll see that in this model, all of the seats raise and lower automatically, press of a button. If you just for whatever reason couldn't access the buttons needed when you're in the third row, you can pull on the red strap and then that slides everything forward and that drops or slides everything forward in one go. That's awesome. Sorry, I didn't wrap up my thoughts there with talking about the third row seating. Yes, I can sit behind myself. I've got decent headroom. You see you've got cup holders. A couple other quick points I like about the cabin. The ambient lighting is lovely. It does look a bit dim here on camera, but even in the day it's bright enough to enjoy. I thought the steering wheel at first was a bit too much in terms of buttons. Like having the drive mode and terrain mode on the steering wheel, I didn't understand that until I was getting into situations where I wanted to maximize the gaps that I saw in traffic. I wanted to be a little bit rambunctious, and all you needed to do was press that to get into sport mode. Bang, you're gone. And then as soon as you've used that opportunity, go back into normal mode. So anything else? Well, it's certainly coming in at a price point that we haven't really seen from Kia before, but this is an electric vehicle. They are still not cheap, and I really am comparing this up against the BMW iX, Tesla Model X, and quite frankly, yes, you've got the badge appeal with those products that you might not have with this. I really do think this Kia EV9 is so close to flawless. I'm not going to call it perfect, but it is the closest thing I've found to a 100% complete vehicle in my time of testing cars. Couple other quick things I'll mention before I love and leave you. This vehicle does have a frunk, enough for you to throw in the backpack that the charging cable comes in, and the V2L adapter. In case you don't know what that is, you can plug that in and you've got a household plug on the other end, so you can use some tools or make an espresso, do whatever you like with that plugged in. In my experience, I have done slow charging and fast charging, and one of the claims that comes with this eGMP platform is charging 10 to 80% in very little time, and I can attest to that. I used a 350 kilowatt fast charger. I don't think I ever saw more than 270 going into the tank, and it was enough to get 10 to 80% charge in half an hour. I thought I would like this vehicle, but I didn't think I would be so impressed by it that the only issue with it is something that isn't a fault of the product itself. It's a fault of the environment and maybe the category in which it's placed in. So please, if you like this vehicle, if you want to own it, you'll get no criticism from me. I just highly recommend you to really analyze what you're looking for, what would work, what won't work in your life, and make the decision based on that. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.